Emma, my twin, was tying the knot. Emma was universally loved. My twin sister was beautiful and successful. And while I was also those things, no one seemed to care or notice. Emma was getting ready for her wedding, and I was helping her. The truth was, I was in love with her fiancé. She stole him from me, even though she knew I was with him. Emma gazed at herself in the mirror as if she was the queen. I was furious, so I grabbed a awl from the kitchen and I admired myself wearing Emma's wedding dress. It was my wedding now. As I walked down the aisle, no one suspected a thing. I fit into Emma's shoes perfectly. I used to come and babysit this little girl named Ella every day. One night, when I was watching TV while she was asleep, I heard her voice calling my name. I thought she was just having a nightmare, so I ran to her room. I opened the door and saw her trembling in fear. She told me that there was a monster in her bathroom. At first, I thought this was her joke to scare me. Of course, I can't believe her, but I still checked her bathroom. I stood in front of the bathroom, took a deep breath, and opened the door. What I saw in there wasn't a monster. It was Ella. So, who's out there?
Jennifer!
While Jennifer was playing with her brother, she heard her mom shout her name from the kitchen. She got up and started to head down. As she got to the stairs, someone pulled her into a room. It was her mother. Her mother whispered,
"Don't go into the kitchen. I heard it too."
Oh my gosh, babe, you look hot.
Babe, stop. I'm blushing right now.
I always hated my looks, especially since my best friend was full of them. She had everything. She was pretty, popular, and she was also dating my crush that I've liked for 7 years. No matter how hard I tried, she always outdid me. So I had to do something unforgivable. I know it's wrong, but can you really blame me? My friend Mary had a tragic incident. It took me months to get over it, but I ended up making friends with this girl. She was very nice, which made me forget about Mary. But I soon realized I started to get sleep paralysis. I would sometimes wake up in the middle of night. One time I was half awake and my door slammed open. So I got the courage to tell my mom about it. "Mom, I keep seeing these weird stuff when I wake up."
That's normal. You will get over it eventually.
So I went back to sleep and hugged my bear tight.
Let's play Cindy.
A couple weeks ago, I went back to my old town to meet my grandparents. On the way to their house, I saw my old friend Kaya sitting alone on the bench near the beach. "Kaya, long time no see," I approached her. "Why are you here all alone?" "It's kind of late, you know." Kaya just stared at me and didn't say anything. As I was about to sit next to her, an old man suddenly came and yelled at me.
"You have to go with me, now!"
"What?"
"Just go. I'll explain later."
I had no choice but following that man. "Hey, tell me what's wrong," I asked. "I cannot leave my friend alone there. It's late."
"It's not your friend,"
the man said with a trembling voice.
"That girl was dead in a car accident a month ago. I was her doctor."
Molly was my childhood friend. Since her dad was the principal, she could get away with anything. Molly used to bully this one girl named Andrea. I didn't join her, but I didn't stop her either. Gradually, Molly's pranks were getting out of hand. That Andrea had no choice but to ditch school. We barely saw her since then. Of course, Molly just shrugged it off and started to look for her new victim. One day, our school went on a camping trip. Everything was fine until that one night. I woke up out of nowhere in the middle of the night as soon as I turned to the side. Molly, what are you doing? You're scaring me.
In the kitchen. In the kitchen. In the kitchen.
She murmured, then walked away. As soon as I followed her to the kitchen,
Hey, is that your sister?
Her? No, she's my old roommate. She came back to her town a month ago.
My new roommate, Sienna, seemed to be kinda chill, except she was a little too protective of her room.
Hey, don't ever enter my room, okay?
One day, the power was out all of a sudden. I walked over to Sienna's room to tell her about the power outage, but then I remembered she was out with her friends earlier. Suddenly, I smelled something awful coming from her room. She might have left some trash in there. I thought I had no choice but to sneak into her room. After I tried to unlock her door with some tricks on YouTube, the door finally opened. As soon as I stepped in, I was terrified. It was her ex-roommate.
my parents went on a long business trip and asked me stay home and take care of the house. When I was sitting watching Netflix, suddenly I heard a strange whistling sound. I couldn't know where it came from. It kept repeating again and again. I got scared, so I slammed the door and ran into my room. At 3 a.m., the whistling sound started up again, and it woke me up. As I raced to the window, I saw a man. It felt like he was staring at me.
My best friend had been missing for a week now. I was devastated. While I was wandering around the street, I saw a hot and handsome guy. He was exactly my type. I approached him and asked, "Can I sit with you?" He said yes, and we had a great conversation. After that, he invited me to his house. I was hesitated at first, but soon I agreed. As soon as I stepped into his house, I smelled something rotten, and the atmosphere felt very gloomy. I wanted to use the restroom, and he showed me where it was. When I entered the bathroom, I heard the water running, and I was shocked to see
Your brother, oh gosh, he went missing.
I have an older brother named Alex. Our father loves us a lot, but our mother hates Alex because of an unknown reason. The day Alex disappeared was the worst day of my life. I couldn't believe I had to live a day without my brother. When the police came, they asked me a couple of questions. After investigating for weeks, they decided to close the case. Actually, I knew who did this to him, but I was too scared.
Honey, today I'm making steak. Your favorite dish.
Mom, I'm not hungry.
Eat it now. Good girl.
Alex, I'm sorry. That day, I went on a camping trip. Before sunset, I went deep into the forest to find more firewood to burn at night. While I was walking, I saw a woman. She looked very weird. She was mumbling to herself like she was talking to someone. Then she walked away and vanished immediately. I got scared and ran back to my tent. It was 11 p.m. I was making candy when I heard someone talking to me. I looked around. What's that? Suddenly, I heard footsteps coming my way. I picked up the axe for self-defense. It was the same woman I saw earlier. What do you want?
One night, a girl named Sadie wanted her friends to sleep over. She asked her parents, but they said no. Sadie begged and begged, but her parents weren't changing their minds. Sadie was extremely mad and then said to her parents,
I wish you both were dead.
And then ran off to her room. That night when she was sleeping, she had a dream her parents died in a car crash. Sadie then woke up screaming and sweating. She went to their room to wake them up, but they were not there. She began to panic and look around, but she couldn't find them anywhere in the house. She then ran downstairs, only to find her mom and dad lying dead in the laundry room. On the kitchen's wall, someone has written,
Be careful with what you wish for.
My friends and I were having a sleepover. We made cupcakes and watched TV together. When I was on my computer, I discovered the dark web, which had really sketchy phone numbers. I thought it was silly and wanted to call some of them as a prank. I told my friends, but Ray kept telling me I shouldn't do it, or something bad would happen. I thought she was just being dramatic, so I called one of the phone numbers.
Hello?
Where are you?
I got scared and turned off my phone. Then we went to sleep. At midnight, while I was sleeping, my phone vibrated. I woke up and picked up the phone.
Where are you?
As I looked out of the window, Emily and I had been best friends. She loved the rabbit bracelet, a gift from her deceased mother. But one time, I borrowed it and accidentally lost it. I thought she wouldn't find out, until one day I went to her house in the forest. Emily told me to play hide and seek. For some reason, I was scared. Emily laughed at me like, what could go wrong? We entered the house. Emily became the seeker. As she started counting, I turned around. From the window, I saw she walked into the tree, trying to find something. It was an axe. I was terrified and about to run, but
Ready or not, here I come.
one night at 3 a.m., when I was working my shift, I noticed that the door suddenly opened, even though no one entered. When I got there to check, I tried to wave my hand in front of the sensor, but it didn't work. Only when I turned my back to observe the corridor did the door finally close. And for some reason, I could feel an overwhelming sense of someone standing right behind me. I hurried back to the control room. Out of curiosity, I decided to rewind the security footage back, which is when I witnessed something that made me terrified. To this day, I can't explain it, because I had just been there and hadn't seen anyone.
My parents passed away since we were in high school, and a few years later my sister got married, left me alone in that house. We barely talked ever since. On that night, while I was preparing to sleep, the doorbell rang continuously. I immediately ran downstairs to check the doorbell's monitor. Nothing was there. Suddenly, a woman showed up, and she kept pacing back and forth in front of the door. Who's there? I said nervously.
It's me, Layla.
The woman stopped and replied with a trembling voice.
Open the door for me.
I was terrified when I realized it was my sister. The moment I opened the door,
Help me.
There was a rumor about the abandoned school in Gracie's town, that it was haunted, and if you went into it, you would never come out. But that didn't stop Gracie, an adventurous teenager. However, as soon as she walked in, Gracie got the chills instantly, and suddenly, she heard a creepy song start to play from somewhere. Out of curiosity, Gracie decided to go further to find out. The closer she got near to the principal's office, the louder the music became. When she peered into the small glass window on the door, she saw a man standing there with his back turned to her. But Gracie held in her screams and ran to the front doors immediately. To her horror, the doors had been locked. She had no choice but to hide in the toilet room. In the silence, she heard footsteps getting closer and closer. The moment she looked up the ceiling,
Everyone says my school is haunted, but I never believed them. So one day, Stella dared me to sneak into the school at night, and she will give me $100. Stella was my classmate. She was very rich and did not like me. Since I was just a poor student in this fancy school, I usually would not agree to something like this, but I needed the money. So later on, I packed everything up and went to the school. The doors were unlocked for some reason, so I just went through them. Everything was going fine. Until I heard someone. I quickly hid as I thought it was the security guard, but it was not. I heard someone said,
I will enter.
It was Stella.
Truth or dare?
Dare, I answered. Jacob started eyeing the house next door. The house was owned by a lady named Gloria. Mrs. Gloria lived with her only child, but they barely went outside, which was strange to us. Every night, we could hear her singing a lullaby. However, we never heard her child talking, laughing, or even crying.
I dare you to sneak into that house.
Bro, it's illegal.
Come on, don't be a coward. I want to know what her child looks like.
I had no choice but to accept that dare. At night, I ran inside and sneaked into the house. Everything in the house was kind of dreary and damp. I checked out each room. And then when I got to the last one,
I had no friends at school. I even ate lunch alone until a new girl entered my school. Her name was Audrey. I tried to talk to her, and she ended up being really nice. After a while, we became best friends and hung out all the time. We did homework together. We walked down the street and had coffee together. But one day, she suddenly fainted when we were shopping. She was brought to the hospital, and I cried a lot. About 1 month later, she came back, and we enjoyed summer together. And the day that we had to come back to school came. When I was sitting at lunch and talking to her, then someone came up to me and said,
Who are you talking to? There's no one there.
I'm talking to Audrey. Are you blind?
What are you talking about? Audrey passed away last month.
I had a crush on this girl named Chelsea. The day she accepted my confession was the best day of my life. since I had never expected she would love someone like me. I mean, she was the prettiest girl in my school, the prom queen, and I was just a nerd. But those happy days didn't last long. I realized Chelsea didn't love me. She didn't see me as her boyfriend. To her, I was just a servant, a dog that always followed her around.
Hey, isn't that Chelsea's dog?
What a loser.
Why you called me here? You know it's late, right? What do you want?
Chelsea, let's break up, I finally said it. Chelsea paused for a moment and looked at me, then said something that I had never expected.
Whatever.
Chelsea chuckled.
I was never in love with you anyway. I was just using you to make my ex jealous. Speak of the devil. Babe, I'm on my way to your house.
I guess it was my last straw.
Trick or treat!
I saw two boys dressed up in costumes. Nice costumes. I chuckled. I didn't hesitate to give them some candy. And then I went inside to make dinner. The moment I sat down, the doorbell rang again, but I realized I had run out of candy to give away. I immediately turned off the front door light and continued cooking. Suddenly, the lights in the house started flickering on and off. A chilling laugh and the shattering of glass echoed upstairs. I hurried up to my room immediately. I started to feel a chill down my spine when I entered the room. I was startled to see the words, "You will die." My heart pounded like crazy in my chest. I rushed downstairs to escape. Is anyone there? I worked for Rosie's family as a housekeeper. One day, Rosie came out and asked me to clean the house.
Bye. I'll be going now. And make sure to call me if there's an emergency.
Of course I will.
Oh, and one more thing. Don't open any bedroom doors.
Yes, ma'am. While cleaning the house, I heard a little girl crying in the bedroom. For a moment, I forgot Rosie's advice and opened the bedroom.
Oh, hello.
I'm sorry, but who are you?
I'm the oldest daughter of the family that live here.
Oh, they never mentioned they had a daughter.
That's sad. Can I show you my bedroom?
I'd love to, but I'm not allowed to enter the bedrooms. After that, I told her to go out to the living room, but she refused. 3 hours later, Rosie returned home.
I'm back. Thank you for cleaning the house.
It's my job, ma'am, but can I ask you a question? You never said you had a daughter.
What do you mean? I don't have a daughter.
Then what was that? Halloween that year. To avoid being disturbed, I prepared a huge bag of candy and left it outside the door for the kids to grab. At 11 p.m., I was sitting there watching TV when all of a sudden, I had a great idea. I went to the room, turned off all the lights, and stood in front of the mirror and lit a big candle. Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary. I was always a good student, and I had lots of friends. My parents were successful, but those wonderful days didn't last long.
Stella, we're moving out to a new place, which means you're getting enrolled in a new school.
Of course, I didn't want to leave, but I had no choice. and we moved to the new city on the weekend. The second I entered the new school, I felt something weird. Everyone had the same creepy face, and they were always staring at me. I didn't think much about it and thought it was just an event at the school since Halloween was near. But when I got to class, even the teachers had the same creepy face. Just as I was going to wash my face. What are you doing?
You're the new student?
A girl asked me.
It seems that you are a little different.
Let me fix that for you.
Do you know, when you sleep at night, Autumn's spirit will appear and unalive you?
Boo! Oh my gosh, so scary.
It has been a month since my classmate, Autumn, passed away. But her bullies never stopped making fun of her, like the way they did when she was alive. I felt bad and sorry because I couldn't do anything to protect her. Days later, something odd happened. It started with the mysterious disappearance of Kayla, the one that made Autumn's life miserable. Then every single person who used to pick on Autumn were all reported missing. There were multiple rumors about them, but mostly related to Autumn.
Her spirit probably came back and took them with her.
She's about to haunt our school.
I heard someone crying yesterday.
That's nonsense, I thought to myself. Ghosts aren't even real, or at least. Autumn would never do that. I just moved in with a new friend because the rental fee for the old house was high and the owner was difficult. Oh, hi. That was my new roommate named Jade. This apartment was nice and had everything I needed. There were 2 separated bedrooms.
This is your space.
The room had a balcony with a view of the vast city. That evening, while I was sleeping, I heard a strange noise. Jade, did you hear any strange noises last night?
Maybe it's just the house next door.
I decided to not think much of it. But when I was reading a book... What are you doing?
I was just checking to see if you're doing okay.
Jade? My name is Laura. It happened in the middle of the night when my parents were away. So I stayed home by myself. I looked out the window randomly and froze. Please get off our property, otherwise I'll call the police. I told him.
Oh, you can do that if you want.
I felt anxious, so I grabbed my cell phone and called the police. But when I looked out the window again, he was gone. At that very moment, I heard footsteps coming from downstairs. I suddenly remembered that I forgot to lock my garden door. He was just staring at me, and I heard sirens. The man still did not move, but then he suddenly walked over to me. I was so scared I couldn't do anything except scream. At that very moment, the police caught up to him and shot his foot. He managed to jump outside of a window and disappeared. I never saw that guy again, but I also feel nervous that he'll come again. I had a close buddy named Mary. We texted constantly, went to school together, and hang out a lot. But Mary always stood out. She was way prettier than me and better at everything, but I still really liked her. She was such a good friend. One day, she disappeared without a trace. From school and from my life. A couple of days later, they said on the news she was missing. Years passed. I graduated, met a bunch of new people, and slowly, Mary faded into the back of my mind. But then, out of nowhere,
they finally found Mary.
I was shocked. Ava and Emma have been best friends since we were kids. Ava had both parents, but Emma didn't. Emma was an orphan who grew up without much love. But that didn't make Ava distant from Emma. That day, Ava's dad went on a business trip, and Ava wanted to invite Emma to her house for a sleepover. After school, they went home together to Ava's place. Ava's mom greeted them warmly and cooked their favorite dishes. Ava was very spoiled by her mother, which made Emma feel annoyed. They watched a movie together and went to bed at midnight. That night, while Ava was fast asleep, Emma woke up and went to the kitchen.
Hey, what do you want to get?
Emma said nothing and walked towards Ava's mother. I was a server. Serving cute guys was nothing new for me. But this one was different. He'd show up every Saturday night at 8 with this girl. I was envious of her. Hearing them laughing and giggling pissed me off. While I was taking their order, the guy was joking about how if she was on the menu, he'd eat her. She giggled and laughed at this. Then she said she was going to wash her hands. A few minutes later, I came back with his food. He told me that he didn't see that on the menu. And I told him, sometimes jokes become reality.
After going shopping, April and Harper went back to Harper's house, ordered a pizza, and watched a movie.
Hey, Harper, the usual?
Yes, please.
It'll be delivered in about 20 minutes.
Awesome, thank you.
They enjoyed each other's company, but I couldn't accept that. I had a project plan to make April mine tonight. I had been waiting, and I delivered the pizza to them.
I'll get it.
When April opened the door, she hesitated. I handed the pizza to her and left.
Do you find the pizza tastes a bit different?
Maybe they've just changed the formula.
After about 30 minutes, Harper started to feel off. And April, too, her vision was gradually fading. They both passed out. Shh, just go to sleep.
I used to be a famous model. I had a body that every young girl dreamed of. But everything changed when I got married and had a kid. I gained so much weight that I couldn't even recognize myself. No one remembered me. To them, I was just a washed-up model. I was devastated until I found this weight loss pill. The seller claimed that it'd give me a wonderful result in less than 24 hours. I drank it immediately without thinking. Since the day I took the pill, my body felt lighter than ever, and I could eat whatever I wanted without gaining weight. But I always felt hungry. I ate, and ate until there was no longer food in the fridge. Yet, it wasn't enough. I guess I have no choice. I've I've always had this huge resentment towards my best friend. I mean, she was attractive, humorous, and popular. I hated her. And the worst part was, she was always kind to me. We hung out all the time, and I always played the best friend role. One night, I was at her place for a sleepover. She was always fast asleep, so I put my plan into action. "5 months have already passed. I still went to school every day like normal.
We have a new student in class today. This is Kelly.
I freaked out when I saw
Long time no see.
Christmas that year. I was staying at home and watching TV. I opened the door and saw no one. Looking down, I saw a doll with a piece of paper. Merry Christmas. I put it on the sofa and went up to my room to sleep. When I went to bed that night, I had woken up to some noise. I looked outside to check and saw nothing. I always loved my crush, Liam, but the only issue was my friend Eliana also liked him. She was prettier than me and more popular. Eliana and I were walking when Liam gave flowers to her. I felt betrayed. Eliana always bragged about her and Liam. I heard Liam tell her that she had the prettiest face he'd ever seen. Me and Eliana had planned a sleepover that night. I grabbed her phone and told Liam to come over. When Liam came to the door, I grabbed a knife and told him, I made sure you wouldn't see that face again.
Max was a new transfer student looking for a place to stay. Good thing he found a nice 2-bedroom apartment. The girl he lived with, named Nora, that night they went out for coffee together. Max got something else out of Nora that day. She kept saying he looked like Liam. Liam was Nora's ex. Max had never met Liam before, so he just shrugged it off with a smile. When he got back, Nora asked him if he wanted to see her room. The girl's room was covered with pictures of Liam, and that scared the hell out of Max. Max went to his room immediately, and all he heard was Nora laughing. About 3 a.m., Max heard some noise coming from the door. Max went outside and saw Nora standing by the corner of the house.
Nora, what are you doing?
Nora didn't say anything. She just stood there and mumbled.
Max, Max, Max. I hadn't seen Grandma in 3 years. As I arrived at Grandma's home, something felt off. She seemed distant, almost cold. The first few days were okay, but there were moments. She forgot my name once, calling me every name she could think of, and she warned me not to go into the attic.
If you go up there, I'll punish you in the most painful way.
Then she smiled and said she was just joking. That night, when I went downstairs to get a glass of water, I heard something. I followed the strange sound out of the room and up to the attic. It was my real grandmother.
Favor, don't. It's not me. Down there, it's not me.
Daniel was always single every Christmas. He used to chat with many girls to find love. Once, he wanted to date Abigail.
Hey, babe, you want to meet up?
I want to know what you look like first.
Come on, I wanted it to be a surprise, babe. Let's meet at the park tonight.
I will come.
When they finally met, things didn't turn out as the way Daniel imagined. Abigail refused his affection because he was too ugly and rude. And that drove him nuts. He went home as if nothing had happened and made another date with a girl named Grace. He asked Grace to come over on Christmas Eve. They had a good time together until...
Why did you murder me?
I used to work at a cafe. My colleagues was extremely nice to me, especially my boss. One night, my boss offered to walk me home. I hesitantly agreed. Eventually, we got to my apartment building. "Thank you for walking me home," I said, and walked inside the lobby immediately. The next day, my coworker told me my boss called in sick. That night, when I got to my apartment and unlocked the door, I noticed something odd. My bedroom door was open, even though I always closed it before I left. I told myself I was just being paranoid. I went to my room and fell asleep. In the middle of the night, I felt something shuffling beneath my bed. I had to stay home alone on Christmas. I chose to watch a movie that I loved. After that, I changed into my pajamas and did my skincare routine. But I wasn't really ready to go to bed. I decided to finish reading the unfinished story. Suddenly, I heard my mother's footsteps coming home, and she shouted my name.
Evelyn!
I hurried back to my room and opened the door to go to bed. I received a text message from my mother saying that
I'm almost home.
What? I mainly spent my holidays by myself, since being around my family just made me sick. One day, I got an invitation to my grandfather's funeral. The invitation also mentioned to bring a side dish for dinner. So I stayed up all night cooking one of my favorite beef stew. When I arrived, I was unsurprisingly greeted coldly by my family. In the middle of one of the people talking, a scream rang throughout the room. One of my aunts had spit out a human eyeball onto the ground. Everyone saw the source of where the eyeball was from. My beef stew. Everyone was screaming in realization of what they had just eaten. No one was normal in this family, including me. I always liked being in my room and didn't want to go outside because I had a sister who always played with me when I was a child. But it was strange how every time my parents knocked on my door to check on me, my sister would be disappearing or hiding from them. I just thought that she was afraid my parents would make her study. One night, I had a dream where my sister and I were playing by the lake. I accidentally pushed her in and she drowned. Terrified, I jolted awake and rushed to my sister's room to check on her. But I didn't see anyone. The room was empty. I immediately asked my mother,
Where is my sister?
Honey, you don't remember? Your sister passed away a year ago.
On a Friday night, everyone began sharing their ghost stories. None of them stood out to me until the quiet kid spoke up. He talked about the bridge near the edge of town.
A long time ago, a woman fell into the river and drowned to death. If you drive there at night, you'll see a woman in a white dress walking around. That's when you need to speed off.
The story sent chills down my spine. Then I left at around 3 in the morning. Suddenly, the music on the radio was replaced with distant cries. So I stopped and stepped out of the car.
I'm lost. Can you drive me home?
I said yes and led her back to my car without thinking. As I looked back, I haven't seen my dad ever since my mom passed away. One day, I received a text from him inviting me to Thanksgiving. When I knocked on the door, it was his new wife. The dinner went completely normal until my dad went outside. His wife told me that we needed to leave as soon as possible. She's been kidnapped by my dad. We made a run for the car. As I was driving, my aunt called me. She asked me how my trip to the psych ward went. It turned out that my dad was in a mental institution for having delusions. Somehow he escaped and mistook that woman as my late mother. I reported it immediately, but they couldn't find him. Knowing he was still out there made it hard for me to sleep at night. I had a close male friend named William. We always did things together, went to school, ate meals, went shopping, and more. We always had a great time together. But one day, he got a girlfriend, and we started to become distant. And he did everything with his girlfriend without caring about me. I wasn't comfortable with it at all because I was his best friend. Coincidentally, I ran into William's girlfriend at the bus stop one day. I still greeted her cheerfully and invited her to my place. But deep down, I hated her for stealing my friendship with William. So I eliminated her. When my mother was alive, we didn't have a close relationship. Fake tears streamed down my face as I stood over my mother's funeral. I looked up and I saw the most handsome man I had ever seen. Then we began having a conversation and hit it off immediately. I excused myself for a minute to go to the restroom. Once I returned back, he had already left. That's when my idea struck. That night, I snuck into my sister's room. I stood over her in silence. Then I decided. Almost a week later, my sister's funeral was held. At last, the person I've been waiting for came back. Grace was a nurse working at a large city hospital. She frequently worked nights and arrived home very late. That night, it snowed and the temperature was quite chilly. She would always drive herself home. It got dark quickly. She had to speed up to get home as soon as possible, and she completely lost control of the steering wheel. Grace couldn't believe she had killed someone. She made a decision to hide her guilt. The next morning, she went to work as if nothing had happened. Then her department head announced,
"A new employee named Lily invited you in."
Hello to the person who took my life.
The love of my life left me today. I found out when I returned to our house. I was heartbroken to have the one I loved so much leave me. On the kitchen island was a letter.
Dear Jenny, I'm sorry I can't keep this a secret anymore. She found me again, and I'm afraid she'll hurt you too. I have to leave for the sake of both of us.
Then I heard the front door open. I grabbed a kitchen hammer and then hid. A young lady called out,
"Hello? Anyone home?"
I took this as my chance to strike. Finally, the one I loved would come back to me. With her gone, I could be with him once more.
Welcome home, Jenny.
I was a freshman and had just moved to this city. I used an online agency to find an apartment. I decided to clean and decorate this new house of mine by myself. But while I was vacuuming the stairs, I suddenly heard a strange noise coming from the dressing room. I went up to check what the noise was. What struck my eyes was the line of text written in blood.
Give me back my house.
I was terrified and my limbs were trembling. I slammed the door of that room shut. I ran quickly into my room and I searched for the website to contact the landlord. To my shock, the website had vanished. My heart beat faster and the room lights suddenly turned off. It was around 1 a.m. I had taken a walk late at night, except for a car parked on the side of the road. In the dark, I could see a silhouette of two men getting out of the car. In my mind, I just assumed they were carrying their drunk friend home from the bar. The only other noticeable thing about him was his blonde hair. When they saw me staring at them, they hurried away quicker. All night, I kept thinking about the weird encounter. In the morning, I entered the elevator to go to work. Body found. A dead body had been found near the building. I walked outside and saw
This happened 3 years ago. I was living in an apartment with my best friend Miko. Our dormitory had rumors about ghosts in there. One day, we decided to have a hot cup of coffee. If this became empty when we came back from the school, then this is a haunted dormitory, I told him. Soon I forgot about the coffee thing because I was quite busy. Around 7 p.m., I saw Miko was sleeping in his bed. Suddenly, I remembered the mug of coffee. I saw the coffee was still full. Told you there's no ghosts.
Hello, I'm late today. Don't wait for me.
According to my friends, Charles was cursed because his ex-girlfriends were always involved in unfortunate events. But I didn't care, and we had been dating for half a year. One day, he invited me to have dinner with his mother. Margaret greeted me warmly, and she asked Charles to buy some more groceries to finish making dinner. He left, leaving me and her alone in the house. While I walked around the house, suddenly I heard a faint voice coming from behind the door of the storage room. I opened the door automatically to check what was inside. To my horror, before my eyes was the corpse of Charles's ex-lover. My heart pounded in my chest, and I wanted to escape from here, but
you're not the first.
One of my biggest fears is the dark. It feels like almost anything could be lurking there. Sitting in my room while trying to fall asleep is horrifying. When I finally managed to sleep, suddenly the room I trapped myself in was pitch black. As I heard the door opening, when I woke up, I found myself completely frozen. My eyes were the only thing I was able to control. To find a lady standing there, the woman slowly stepped out of the shadows. In high school, there was always that popular trio. Their names were Millie, Emma, and Grace. Millie had beautiful black, straight hair. Emma had the brightest blue eyes, and Grace never figured out what made her different from them. These three were popular The students in the school waved to everyone everywhere, except Grace. After a few days, both of them disappeared without a trace. One day, Grace came to school with a new look, with her black, straight hair and big, bright blue eyes. Few weeks later, Millie's and Emma's bodies were found. Millie's eyeballs were taken out, and Emma's scalp was chopped off. Who did that? Being a broke college student, I couldn't afford a ticket to see my family over winter break. My best friend offered a stay at his family's. Before giving me the keys, he warned me not to open the door anymore, especially if they knocked at night. It was easy for me to settle in and sit peacefully by the fireplace. Before long, the sun had already set, and the only thing I could hear was the fire cracking. My peaceful silence was soon interrupted by knocking on the front door.
Please let me in. It's so cold out here.
I looked out the window. It was a little girl. I decided to run outside and open the door. When I first started high school, I had the best teacher ever. She was very kind. She let us do whatever we wanted and didn't care about us at all. Everyone loved her except for Aurora, the bookworm. She was intelligent, but she was always gossiping. It was so annoying. One day we heard that our teacher had been fired because that bookworm had tattled on her to her parents about the teacher, and they complained to the principal. This angered many people, including me. No matter how much Aurora begged, my friends and I continued to bully her. One day, she suddenly went missing and never came back. Everyone believed that she was already dead. But I had a friend who lived right next door. One day, she told me about her dream. A kind-looking old lady always comes out in her dreams, and she cooks meals for her. The most amazing thing was when she woke up. She felt full as if she had actually. But on another day, when my friend was about to go to school,
Do not follow the stranger or anyone today.
That night, the old lady appeared in her dream as usual and asked my friend to go somewhere with her. However, she then remembered what her grandmother said to her in the morning, so she refused to go that moment. I was in class when I received an important text message from my mother. I rushed home without a second thought.
What happened, Mom?
My mother told me that my father had passed away. I was shocked and devastated. In contrast, I saw that my mother was very composed and even smiled while reading a text message. That night, I missed my father so much, and I dreamed of him. But the unimaginable thing was, I dreamed that my mother had killed him. Startled awake, I rushed to my mother's room. I was horrified to see my mother and another man together in bed. Overwhelmed with fear and disgust, I stood frozen at the doorway, but
they betrayed me.
On one Wednesday, I went to the balcony to look at the view. When I looked down, I saw my friend Jenny. Jenny saw me, and she waved at me with a big smile on her face. So of course, I waved back at her. It's bizarre, since it happens almost every day, but I don't mind it. I decided to have a sleepover with her. We do fun things together like sing, dance, and other stuff. I decided to have a sleepover with her. We do fun things together like sing, dance, and other stuff. While we're watching a horror movie, I went to get some fresh air on the balcony. I looked down, and there she was, waving at me from afar.